Phrasal verbs with give and break. Hello, everyone. My name is Richard. Hello, friends. I'm Justin. Welcome to our lesson. We are happy to see you. Justin, can you hear it? Someone's knocking on the door. Yes, I can. Let's check who it is. Hello, Richard. Oh, hello there. Come in, please. Thank you. Justin, meet my neighbor Patrick, please. Nice to meet you, Patrick. Nice to meet you too. Patrick, what are you doing here so early? Well, in the afternoon, my family and I are going on a little trip. Oh, that's wonderful. Yes, it is. But I have to do my homework before this trip. Okay. And what's the problem? Richard, I know nothing about the phrasal verbs with give and break. As a result, I can't do my homework. Oh, I see. Would you like us to tell you about these phrasal verbs? Yes, please, if it's no bother. Oh, come on. We are neighbors, and neighbors should always help each other. Am I right? Yes, you are. Great. In this case, let's start our lesson. So, today in the lesson we will talk about phrasal verbs with give and break, and put the knowledge into practice. Patrick, first of all, we would like to remind you that a phrasal verb is a verb that is made up of a main verb together with an adverb or a preposition. Typically, its meaning is different from the meaning of the original verb. For example, Melanie was putting on her makeup in front of the mirror. In this sentence, we've used the phrasal verb put on. Its meaning in this context is to spread a cream, liquid, powder, or other substance on your skin or hair in order to make it softer, healthier, or more attractive. Now, let's talk about phrasal verbs, which we can get from the verb give. Give away. It has 5 meanings. To tell information or facts that you should keep secret. For example, they felt like they were giving away company secrets. To show an emotion or quality that you're trying to hide. For instance, although she is pretending hard to be happy, sad eyes give her away. To provide someone with something that you no longer want or need. For example, he was giving his collection away for nothing. To let someone have something without paying for it. For instance, 10,000 copies of the software package are being given away. To allow an opponent to win because you make a silly mistake. For example, they gave away 2 goals in the first half. Give back. It has 2 meanings. To return something to the person who gave it to you. For instance, make sure you give me the keys back when you've finished. To allow someone to feel an emotion again that they had stopped feeling. For example, a win today could give Jessica back her confidence. Give in. It has 3 meanings. To stop competing or arguing and accept that you cannot win. For instance, the champion refused to give in and went on to win the set. To give a piece of written work or a document to someone to read, judge, or deal with. For example, she came to the teacher with a piece of work she should have given in last week. To agree to do something that you don't want to do. For instance, our kids kept begging us to take them to the beach, and finally we gave in. Give up. It has 6 meanings. To stop doing something that you do regularly. For example, giving up his job was the last thing we expected him to do. To stop thinking or believing something. For instance, it was a difficult time, but we never gave up hope. To use your time for one activity instead of another. For example, doing this job will mean giving up a lot of my spare time. To allow the police or an enemy to take you as a prisoner. For instance, the gunman gave himself up to the police. To stop having a friendship with someone. For example, she seems to have given up all her old friends. To think that someone is certain to die or to be dead. For instance, the doctors had virtually given her up for dead, but she eventually recovered. Give over. It means to stop doing something, usually something annoying. For example, give over making that noise. Give out. It has 4 meanings. To give something to a group of people. For instance, they're giving out free tickets to the circus. To last no longer or to work no longer. For example, food supplies will give out by the end of the week. To produce something such as a sound or light. For instance, he gave out a scream of pain. To complain about something. For example, hopefully, after this win, people will stop giving out to the team and the coach. Now, complete the sentences with the appropriate forms of the phrasal verbs from the box. Let's check the right answers. 1. I pressed my parents until they finally gave in and registered me for skating lessons. 2. Benjamin's wife finally persuaded him to give up smoking. 3. Stephanie gave away state secrets to the enemy. 4. Give over, Christopher. You're hurting your little brother. 5. The company had to give back all the money customers had paid. Now let's talk about phrasal verbs, which we can get from the verb break. Break down. It has 5 meanings. To stop working because of a fault. For instance, the car broke down just outside Liverpool. To divide something into parts in order to analyze it or make it easier to do. For example, each lesson is broken down into several units. To lose control of your feelings and start crying. For instance, he broke down and wept when he heard the news. To hit something such as a door or wall very hard to make it fall down. For example, firefighters had to break down the door to get into the flat. To remove a difficulty that prevents something from happening. For instance, the aim of the agreement is to break down barriers to trade. Break into. It has 5 meanings. To enter a building or open a car by force. For instance, he's had his apartment broken into twice. To interrupt someone when they are talking or thinking. For example, Christopher's voice broke into her thoughts. To open and use something that has been kept for an emergency. For instance, we had to break into our savings to pay the fine. To begin laughing, singing, running, etc. suddenly. For example, as the president's car drew up, the crowd broke into loud applause. To be successful in your career or an area of activity. For instance, she finally broke into films after an acclaimed stage career. Break up. It has 5 meanings. To separate something into smaller pieces. For example, the ship broke up on the rocks. To end a relationship with somebody. For instance, she's just broken up with her boyfriend. To make people leave something or stop doing something, especially by using force. For example, police were called in to break up the fight. To make somebody feel upset. For instance, the thought of hurting her just breaks me up. To begin the holidays when school closes at the end of a term. For example, when do you break up for Christmas? Break away. It has 3 meanings. To escape suddenly from somebody who is holding you. For example, the prisoner broke away from his guards. To leave a political party or other group, especially in order to form a new one. For instance, the people of the province wished to break away and form a new state. To move away from a crowd or group, especially in a race. For example, she broke away and opened up a 2-second lead. Break through. It has 4 meanings. To make new and important discoveries. For instance, scientists think they are beginning to break through in the fight against cancer. To make a way through something using force. For example, a group of young demonstrators broke through the police cordon. To appear from behind clouds. For instance, at last the moon broke through the clouds, and they could see their way. To successfully deal with something that is stopping you making progress. For example, I broke through the poverty barrier, and it was education that did it. Now, put the sentences in the correct column. The first column should include sentences with the phrasal verb break up. The second column, break through. The third, break away. The fourth, break down. And the last, break into. Let's check the right answers. The first column, they decided to break up the partnership. I don't want to break up the party, but I have to go now. The second column, the protesters are hoping to break through the barriers. He's a very talented young actor who's just ready to break through. The third column, he grabbed her, but she managed to break away. Some members of this party want to break away to form a rival party. The fourth column, firefighters were called after his father failed to break the door down. I always break down and cry when I hear the bad news. The fifth column, they had to break into the emergency food supplies. It's a profession that is very hard to break into. Guys, now I know everything about the phrasal verbs with give and break. Thank you so much for your help. It's our pleasure, Patrick. All right, now I have to go and get ready for the trip. Okay, have a great time with your family. Thank you. Goodbye, Richard and Justin. Goodbye, Patrick. See you soon, dear friends.